Welcome back to Listen and Level Up. I'm your host, Lauren Everett, digital storyteller at B-Lab US and Canada, and I am joined by some phenomenal women, and who better to introduce them than themselves?
I'm Patrice Mousseau. I'm Anishinaabe Kwe from Fort William First Nation, born and raised in Sioux Lookout, Ontario, and I currently live on the Tsleil-Waututh First Nation in North Vancouver, BC, Canada. I am also the CEO and founder of Satya Organics, and we make organic skincare for people with skin issues like eczema or just severely dry skin. And we started in a kitchen crock pot, and now we're in thousands of stores across the country and globally as well.
Hi, I'm Ehime Eigbe. I'm from Edo State, Nigeria. Currently live in Washington, D.C. I'm the founder and CEO of Sweet Kiwi. Sweet Kiwi is a frozen dessert that bridges the gap between better for you, functional nutrition, and great taste. We create our product using carefully selected ingredients that function better together to support gut health, wellness, and nutrient absorption. And we can be found in over 2,000 physical doors in the U.S.
Today, we're talking about going beyond the balance of health and wellness. So I'm curious from both of your perspectives, what was the catalyst that helped you start your business?
Well, for me, it was definitely my little girl. She was 8 months old and crying and scratching so bad that she was actually bleeding onto her crib sheets. Mm-hmm. And as a mom, I was, of course, going to do anything and everything that needed to happen. Mm-hmm. So I took her into the doctor, and the only option the doctor gave me was a steroid cream for my 8-month-old baby. And I was like, there's got to be a better solution. So I used to be a journalist, a broadcaster, and I just used my research skills, bought a used crock pot, and got busy in my kitchen and, looked at traditional medicines, obviously, academic studies, the existing medical research, and came up with something that cleared her eczema up in just 2 days.
2 days?
2 days.
Amazing. What about you, Ehime?
For me, I was diagnosed with a uterine fibroid, and I absolutely did not want to do anything the doctor told me to, because I'd seen my sister do that just 2 years before me and go through the worst experience in the medical system. So I was so sure about what I wanted to do. I did more research around how to heal my body using food, and I discovered that a lot of the diseases that we fight has to do with a lack of nutrition, eating a lot of empty calories. And so I just started trying to, go through a whole dietary change. But in the process of that, I really struggled because I'm a big sweet tooth. I love my sweets. I love my ice cream. And, it was really tough, but I was so determined. And I just started trying to recreate my favorite treats in a way that they were still delicious, but now nutritionally sound. And that's how Sweet Kiwi was born.
Tell me, what were your aha moments when you realized that what you created was actually doing what you intended to do?
Well, obviously for me, it was when my little girl got relief in just 2 days. But then I'd made a whole crock pot, and I was like, I didn't need this right away anymore. So I was, what am I going to do with this? So I put it out to other moms on a mom and baby, Facebook group. And I literally had people driving, 2 towns over to come and buy this. And then I had to make 3 more crock pots, and then on and on. And it just seemed like at the time I didn't realize how big of an issue it was, but about 20% of the world's population suffers from eczema. And the only solution has been steroids.
Very interesting. I was just going to add that I have a 1-year-old, and when he was born, I had that struggle as well. So if I'd just known about your crock pot.
Well, that's the thing. We just got to having these conversations so people know that there are alternatives out there that are actually better for them and better for the planet and better for our communities. So thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, it was taking it to work. I started meal prepping. I had a very close team. We would do lunches together, and I stopped going out to eat. So I was prepping a lot of my meals and bringing it to work, and my coworkers were always in my meals and like, oh, what is that? And then they were always like after the yogurt. So I was like, guys, it's getting expensive feeding the whole team. So you guys have to start chipping in for groceries.
Nice.
And they were like, well, we'll pay. And that was it. Like, it was just, okay, I'll make some more. And, I was able to start selling it at work. And then one day my boss told me, you could do this as a business. And there was that immediate fear, like, what? I like getting that
Yeah.
paycheck every 2 weeks.
So you're like me, you didn't come from having a business background.
Not at all. And
Yeah.
that was really scary. Just him saying that, I felt the fear like right away. But, I realized I was really passionate about doing it. And I just decided, you know what, I want to take this seriously, but I wanted to learn as opposed to being afraid and saying, it's not for me. How about I just learn about the industry? So I got a part-time job working in a restaurant and with companies that had frozen yogurt companies. And I started to get comfortable with the idea of running my own business.
For me also, it was seeing other women-owned businesses that were really values-driven, being successful and not compromising on their values. That to me was like, okay, if that's what business can be, then maybe I can be a business person. I'm just going to do it differently.
So that seems like an easeful transition into the Level program. So tell me, what was your inspiration, or how did you get involved in the Level program?
I found out about the Level program at Expo West. I've always been interested in being a B Corp, but I felt we were too small and not ready for that step. I've always known about the kind of company I wanted to run, and also about who I wanted to be in life. I always knew I wanted to be about impact, about making a difference in my community. And so even when I went to college, I studied international relations because I was all about just making the world a better place. And, graduating from college and being thrown into the world, you start to realize that you don't really know how to do that because things get really confusing. Because when you're in school, it seems really simple.
Right, yes. Everything is planned for you.
Yeah, everything seems really simple about how to achieve world peace or make the world a better place. And then you get into the world and it's more complex than that, and it's never that straightforward. But I really wanted to do something and stay true to who I was and what my life mission was. So finding out about the program at Expo West, I was so excited. I was so interested because I've always been intentional about the kind of company I was building, always been intentional about the product and the difference that it was making to people around the world. Just even the knowledge perspective, helping people learn about food, about what your body needs, about how to eat better, feel healthier, just live a better life. I'm really passionate about food systems, how we source our ingredients, and how we're impacting the environment in the process of that. And so being a B Corp, that was something that I've always dreamed about doing.
That's so beautiful. What about you?
Well, it's interesting you should talk about, I talked about wanting to grow up to become a B Corp because I had seen other companies that I respected and admired who were B Corps. But, so many of us, we have this innate knowledge in our communities, in the brown and black communities, about what it means to be a good values-driven company. And bringing that into the B Corp environment just seems like something that's going to help B Corp itself evolve and to learn more about what it means to be a respectful and a good partner in communities. Because I've always wanted to become a B Corp. And when we finally went through that process, it was so easy. In fact, we were doing so many things even that B Corp hadn't even considered to measure as yet. So it's been a really wonderful opportunity, and learning from the consultants. They're just worth their weight in gold. I honestly would not have gotten through this process without the help of the consultants, for sure.
How has going through the Level program helped evolve your business model or even your social impact?
It really has, I think, because you think through everything now. There are things that we're automatically passionate about and we pay attention to, but then going through that process, doing just the program, talking to the consultants, you start to find other areas where you can do better. You start to find other things that you haven't done that could be really impactful. And I find that for us, it's been really great to start to look at the different areas in our business, to start to think through how we're running our business and how we can do better. It definitely has opened my eyes to a lot. And I think also, like you mentioned, there are things that we were doing that we didn't know was a great thing.
That
We could get credit for. So that's always like, oh, really? But that's good to know, because I find that now that we know, we can be even more intentional about doing those things and amplifying those things that we're already doing. That was a win.
Yeah.
It's tracking the data that you already, the things you're already doing that you're able to then translate, which is great because then you become a role model for other companies. Just go, oh, yeah, I'm doing that, so maybe I should be a B Corp as well.
I love that there was such a personal investment for you. And it seems like with a lot of B Corps, it's not just like, oh, the values of my business, but also my personal values. So I think that all three of us know that the BIPOC community within the larger B Corp ecosystem is relatively small. So I'm curious from both of you, how would you like to see the B Corp community evolve with programs like Level?
Well, Level definitely needs to continue.
Of course.
And they need to definitely make sure that those consultants are involved. Like you said, you found out at Expo West. I actually found out at CHFA the night before it was to close. So I think that, again, talking about it is wonderful and important, but we need to get the word out as much as humanly possible to our communities to understand that this opportunity is here because, you know, we're incredibly lucky to be a part of B Corp, but I also think B Corp's incredibly lucky to have us to be a part of it as well.
Absolutely. And I think there needs to just be more information shared maybe on wider platforms. Because I think that sometimes BIPOC people aren't on the regular platforms where B Corp, because I never heard of it until Expo West. I mean, I've heard about the B Corp, but it was just something that was out of my reach.
Yeah.
And so maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So from that encounter at Expo West, I realized there was a way, you know, for me to attain that in a way.
Yeah.
And I think just amplifying that as soon as the program opened up, send it out to my whole network. Like, you got to apply for this. Like, this is just simply amazing and transformational. And one of the things I was able to share with people was you don't have to have everything perfect. As you go through the process, you'll figure out the things that you can, you know, you could do more of to get you to where you want to be. And I really like that about it.
It's funny, you know, I hear people talk about how onerous the process is to become a B Corp. And in all honesty, I feel like people in the BIPOC community are already doing a lot of the things that B Corp requires.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter for us of paperwork, right? So doing this Level program, having the consultants to help you, it's not going to take that much away from your time in your business. But I think that becoming a part of this community is going to be really valuable to so many of us in these small and medium businesses.
I want to pivot a little bit. Both of you have such rich cultural backgrounds, and I'm curious, were there any cultural expectations that maybe were thrusted on you or that you were just aware of that you wanted to intentionally challenge with starting your business?
When it comes to my background and my culture, it's very much a part of who I am.
Yeah.
I don't come from a business background. This is my first business. So I didn't learn the way that business is supposed to be done. I just learned the way that business should be done as far as I was concerned. You know, so like, for example, I talk to people about, you know, the business hierarchy, right? The pyramid of the CEO at the top and whatever. And I said, but in our culture, we flip that and we're all sitting together at a table and everyone has those equal voices. You know, you ask the elders, you ask the children, you ask the two-spirited, and then you together come to a consensus and then, you know, it follows through. And it's interesting to me, like this is such a traditional way of looking at leadership and community responsibility in Indigenous communities. Now other companies are starting to understand the value of hearing more voices than just themselves.
I think for me, it would just be with my business, what I've been able to accomplish is, well, I haven't kept track of how many millions, you know, population-wise Africa is now. But I think for me, one of the things I've gotten back and the feedback I've received is that showing people in Africa that it's possible, the things that I've been able to do, the things we've been able to accomplish. We started the business initially in Nigeria to be able to translate that into a different a different market, one of the biggest markets in the world, and be successful at it. I think that it's broken through the mindset that they could not do it or that was not possible. And it's one of the things that I get so many emails about that, about people saying, as soon as I saw your story, I opened a LLC in the US because I've been living here 20 years, 30 years, but I didn't think as an immigrant there was space for me to do that. And I think just challenging that notion, and sometimes it's not something that someone says, it's stuff that's in your mind. And I think I experienced that as well. I've had to do the self-work to understand some of the decisions that I made. And going back, I think when I think about why I opened it in Nigeria first was because I was living here and it didn't seem like I could do it here or it was even possible to do here. There was a little fear of so many things, taxes, IRS, I don't want to get in trouble.
It was always like the pale male, the
Barriers.
people doing business with little briefcases and whatever, and extracting and taking advantage and profit. Like that was never where I ever wanted to be. But business can be much different than that.
Exactly. And I feel like doing it now, I realize I can do it. And when I really looked in and asked myself why I made that, not that it wasn't a great decision, it was a great learning field. It was just that maybe that decision initially was driven by something else. It was driven by the thought that I couldn't make it in this market, or who was ever going to take me seriously or buy something from me, But every day now we're in 2,000 doors and we keep growing. Consumers love our products. Retailers love the product. And for me, it's just broken this big ceiling and broken this thing or this image that we have in our mind, or preconceived notion that we all carry that certain things are impossible.
Yeah.
I so want to give you a high five right now. Come on.
Do it. I want a high five too. Thank you. I would, first of all, want to recognize that both of you have seen such immense success. And the level of program will be continuing. So for BIPOC women who are looking to intersect health and wellness with business, what advice would you give them?
I mean, find your community. That can be B Corps, people who are, understand where it is that you're coming from and that you don't want to compromise who you are in order to do that. I feel like the number one thing that is a marker of success is building community and having people to, it's not really about like the networking or like, being able to access this. It's about having that support and that those sounding boards and those people that you can cry with and the people that you can, celebrate with, like who you want to call when something good happens. Because obviously we all know it's very isolating.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your community, I think you're in trouble.
I would say the same. And I think that's why I've been so intentional about building Sweet Kiwi from a community-centered approach. I've been overwhelmed by the amount of love and support we get from our community. In DC, LA, like everywhere that we are, I'm always overwhelmed by the amount of people who just support us and love on us. And now the B Corp level is part of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely felt so loved on last year, for sure. And that would be my advice. Lean in, show up. That's another thing. I think sometimes we have so much going on all the time, and sometimes we're not sure about what space it is, what space is great for us. And my response is just show up. You just never know what's going to come out of anything. Just build community. Even if it doesn't turn out to be a perfect situation or scenario, I'm going to take out of it 1, 2, or 3 people that are going to become part of my community that believes in what I'm doing and is going to come along with me on this journey. So nothing's ever wasted. Put yourself out there.
Yeah. Okay. What is it about the B Corp community that you are most excited for? What is it that really calls to you, especially being a newly certified B Corp? Yeah.
I feel like it'll be a lot easier to communicate. There'll be a lot of shorthand with the people that we're going to be building community with other businesses. They'll understand my intentions in what I'm doing. And just, again, I just think that community is everything. And this is just a bigger, broader community to be able to spend time with and be inspired by.
Absolutely. I think probably the same. I know there's a there's an African saying that says, an African word called Ubuntu, I am because we are. So we're all a part of each other. We're an extension of each other. I can't build a business that's not doing the right things because it not only impacts other people, but it, in turn, in the reverse, impacts me and my future generation. So as we build and as we grow, we continue to focus on the fact that everything that I am, everything that I put out comes back, and I am because you are.
Yes.
And you are because I am.
The idea too of being of service and community, and these things that are not generally thought of as success markers in business. Those are the true things that actually make you happy. So I think hopefully we'll also be able to inspire other people to realize what it is that's really going to motivate them to hopefully change the world, because business can really do that.
Yeah. I'm not even a business owner, but I feel inspired. So I feel like it's already been a success.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Yes. I think that is it. That feels like such a high note to end on. So I highly encourage you all, if you did not catch the first installment, to go back and watch that. And if you want to learn more about how to join the Level program, or even just about B Corps, visit wearebcorps.com/level.